Start with Jim. Go ahead.
Thanks. Jim Brunsden from the Financial Times. On the extension of the transition period, why is the EU side of the negotiations seeking to put such a hard end date to any extension, and to have that basically to give such a constraining limit that would only really allow quite a limited extension beyond what's currently foreseen? Why would you want to limit margin of manoeuvre in that way? Thank you.
Jim, qu'est-ce que c'est que la transition?
Well, what is a transition? The UK requested, I would recall, and we accepted this particular period. So after the 30th of March, after the UK leaves the institutions as they wish to do, we would maintain during a limited period, and you will recall the debate, including in London, on the length, the duration of that period. We proposed 21 months, during which the status quo would be maintained. So presence within the single market, customs union, and other European policies with all the rights and obligations attaching. So until the end of the current MFF. Transition, as feasible within Article 50, is a period of phasing out. It's, legally speaking, not the beginning of the future relationship. It's something useful, expedient for both sides during the negotiation of the future relationship. It is an, I think, indispensable period for the UK to prepare or to adapt its administration where necessary, and of course, for the economic operators to prepare as well. But it's also a period of time during which we don't yet know what comes afterwards, because we're negotiating that. We're still negotiating during the transition period. So it's a period of stability for the single market, but uncertainty as to what will follow. So that's in nobody's interest. So for legal reasons linked to the spirit of Article 50, and for reasons of substance, because of the uncertainty, the idea is that any prolongation of the transition period, which requires agreement with the British on their financial contribution during any such period. But anyway, it can't be indefinite. It has to be a fixed period of time. So given the positions of the 27 member states as they stand today, and it was discussed among ambassadors yesterday, I believe that we will make a final and specific proposal for these purposes during the course of this week. So we would fix a final moment for up to which we can have a single prolongation of the transition. And of course, this will all be by mutual agreement between the United Kingdom and the 27 member states.
Thank you. Mr. Barnier, I have two questions, if I may. You say that the EU27 can't agree the terms for the extension at this stage. Does this mean the EU27 is not as unified as you often claim? I mean, we've heard that some member states think you've given away too much. And how much should Britain pay for each year of transition? Thank you.
Il me semble, je parle sous le contrôle de Gernot, que...
Well, I'll let Gernot check what I'm saying, but I believe that all the governments have agreed to the principle of a possible extension. So no decision has been made as yet on this issue. I think it's rather sensible to keep this possibility of a one-off extension for a limited period of time, should that become necessary. But no decision has been made yet. I haven't seen any disagreements about the idea of this, about the principle of the possible extension for a brief period. And I won't go into your second question for the simple reason that I do not have the answer to it. All I can say is that at this stage, if the extension were to be enacted, if the UK were to remain a part of the customs union and the single market for a period of time, which would be a short period of time, we would have to have an agreement as to the financial settlement, or the financial contribution rather, to the EU. It's a very interesting question, but it's premature at this stage.
Okay, we have time for one final question. Paddy, please.
Paddy Smith, Irish Times. In the draft political declaration which we have seen, there is a phrase about building on the customs arrangement made in the withdrawal agreement, and that has been rather provocative in Britain, because it seems to suggest to some people that Britain will just stay in a customs union forever. Is there room, in your view, for changing that sort of language?
Well, firstly, the arrangement or agreement reached with Theresa May's government on the single customs area, well, it's something on which we have moved in the UK's direction. If you consider the first proposal for a backstop, I have taken into account several requests for a UK-wide solution for Ireland, which came from the UK side. So we worked on the proposal, and there was a compromise. Both sides had to move. That part of the backstop, so a single customs area, which makes it possible to preserve a situation, is not actually designed to be used. We talked to Simon Coveney about this as well this morning. It's a backstop in the form of insurance, so that we don't end up with a hard border in Ireland. But the objective, if all goes well, is simply to use the time available in the transition period, 21 months, to get an overall global agreement with the UK on the future strategic and economic partnership. And in that context, we expect an agreement that will make it possible to maintain the situation in Ireland without a hard border. Now, I can't preempt the outcome of any negotiations on the future relationship. But there is one point on which we agree. If you compare the guidance issued by the Council to me, my mandate, and the white paper issued by Chequers, well, there's a free trade area contained in both. That's the minimum point of departure, if you like. That's, I think, really all I can say on the subject.
For today, we will keep you updated. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Is there a plan B?